Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SE Talk. Bei mir sind wir jetzt im Hotel. Anders ist das Interview nicht gegangen. Wir sind bei Chinook. Wir sind jetzt wieder bei Cannabis. Bei mir ist der CEO von der Company und Direktor Alex Blodgett. Und er wird uns die Company jetzt kurz einmal vorstellen. Wie gesagt, wenn es rundherum ein bisschen laut sein sollte, dann liegt es daran, dass die Location leider nicht recht viel besser ist. Aber ganz spannend ist, Sie haben Ihre Projekte eigentlich in Deutschland. Alex, thank you to have time, and I said in my German introduction that your focus in the cannabis area is Germany.
Correct, yes.
How this comes?
So just background. So we are a German-based biopharmaceutical company that's focused in on basically formulations, cannabis formulations and dose delivery systems. We were always interested in being in the cannabis space. We started off, our origins are basically in Germany, but also here in Canada. And of course, we've been seeing this proliferation of licensed producers here in Canada. And we made a decision pretty early what we didn't want to be. What we didn't want to be is be in the production business where there are significant capital costs and the risk of, from our vantage point, technological obsolescence because you can't be cost effective. And so we looked for a niche market that really leveraged our skill set. And our skill set is principally we have a long operating history in Germany and particularly in the former East Germany. So we've been investing in assets and distressed assets in Germany for quite a while, and we understand cannabis. And so we focused in on an area where we felt we could be significant differentiators, and that's how we came up with what we think is a really simple business model. And that business model is we're working primarily with Canadian licensed producers, and I think everyone in this space understands that Canada is really kind of on the leading edge of cannabis, including medicinal cannabis. And so our value add is we basically work with local licensed producers to make sure that they are what's referred to as EU GMP certified in order to export and then ultimately import into the German market. And once they're certified, we buy from that licensed producer and we sell into Germany. So it's a pretty simple model.
So you're more a logistic company?
Logistics are an important part of it, but we're still taking, effectively we're taking trade finance risk. We're buying at one price and we're selling to a wholesaler at another price. But we need to get the product there, and that's where the logistics come in.
And then you need a whole stuff of security and so on and so on. Then
Correct.
a special. Do you more interested in the CBD or more in the THC?
It's a function of what the doctor ultimately prescribes for the patient. So at this point, we're really driven by what the demand is, and then the demand's driven by what the doctors are prescribing the patients. And so most of the strains at this point, we're buying from existing licensed producers. We're buying their medicinal cannabis. Eventually, the idea is we'll start developing our own strains, our own formulations.
So that means also from the cost side, it's much easier. Then you don't have the production risk.
Correct, yeah.
You have not the high cost of production here. So you are only buyers and sellers, I must say.
In the purest sense, we're facilitators. So we're not producers, we're facilitators. We're buying and we're selling.
So is the plan to coming up with a brand?
No, what we're going to do is we're going to deliver what the pharmacies want, and what the pharmacies want is going to be dictated by what the doctors are asking for. Just to be clear, in Germany, cannabis is deemed to be a narcotic, and Germany has the highest standards worldwide in terms of the quality, not only the quality of the product, but how the product is produced. And so what we do is we work with each of the licensed producers here in Canada, and eventually be other parts of the world, because there is medicinal cannabis coming from other areas. But we're working with the licensed producers to get them their certification. We're working with a very substantial pharmaceutical consulting firm based in Germany that helps us come in, effectively provide consulting services to these LPs. We do a gap analysis to see whether or not they qualify for EU GMP certification, and if they don't, we advise them in terms of what they need to do to their facilities and their processes in order to qualify. And once they are certified, then we go and get them approval over in Germany so that they're in position to basically import their product into Germany. Well, one thing I might note is we're the only what we kind of call pure play in this space. There are, I think at this point, 7 licensed producers that are certified to import into the German market, but those are companies, their principal focus is on the recreational market. We're the only ones focused purely in on the medicinal cannabis market.
Wow, okay, interesting. Do you have any plans? What do you expect when you can bring the first product over? How's the business plan looks like?
So the answer is yes. I mean, we obviously have specific projections. As a public company, we're somewhat reluctant to kind of give specific dates, but we would certainly expect to be bringing our first product into Germany by the first half of 2020.
Okay, so next year, and then from them we see the revenue growing.
Correct. Yeah.
And from them you can calculate it on the numbers and so on and so on.
Well, I think even today I think we have a pretty clear idea in terms of today's environment what we're buying it for and what we're selling it for. So we know what that margin is. I think we're in an environment now, even with medicinal cannabis, where those prices are going to be coming down. And again, this is one of the reasons we didn't want to be in the production business, because I think being successful in the recreational market, by way of example, is going to be all about being a low-cost producer. And if you go out there as a licensed producer and spend $5 or $10 million in the facility, you run the risk of that facility, I won't say being obsolete, but locking into a technology that's going to dictate what your cost structure is. And as the prices of cannabis come down, it's going to obviously erode into your profitability. And so we didn't want to take that production risk.
Understandable. I'm absolutely on your side. So what can we expect from the news flow maybe in the next 6 months?
So obviously we're a public company, and we recognize the need to kind of to communicate our story to not only existing shareholders but also prospective shareholders. And so we have a deliberate investor relations strategy both in North America and in Germany. We're listed on the TSX Venture here in Vancouver, but we're also listed now in Frankfurt. We have traditional IR here in Canada that principally markets towards the brokerage community, and with the idea the broker is going to leverage that into their investor base. We have social media here in North America that focuses on basically communicating this message to a broader audience that isn't going to necessarily be part of that brokerage community. And we have the same structure over in Germany, so we have traditional IR over there, and we have social media over there as well. But we have what we feel will be a litany of press releases coming out over a period of time. I mean, today we're in active discussions with 3 to 5 different licensed producers. Well, with each one of those licensed producers, there is a MOU or a memo of understanding in terms of the supply agreement. There's taking them through the EU GMP certification. So completion of the gap analysis, for example, ultimately getting certified, getting them approved and an import and license into Germany. So each one of those licensed producers can generate a handful of milestones and ultimately press releases. And then on the German side, of course, and then there are all the logistics involved in getting the product from Canada into Germany. So those are things that could be, to the extent that they're meaningful, those milestones are press, or something that we can press. And then, of course, and then there's the German side of the equation, which is we have a relationship with a consulting firm that's helping us do this GMP certification. We have relationships with wholesalers, a series of wholesalers. Those will be potential press releases. And then those wholesalers have relationships with the pharmacies. Then you start shipping product. You hit certain import milestones in terms of quantity. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about that hopefully demonstrates to the marketplace that we're kind of hitting those milestones, hitting those benchmarks.
But still, we can expect the first delivery to the market first half year to 2020.
Correct,
So
yeah.
it means next time when we sit here, it's we have a very good chance that we can say yes, the delivering is starting. We are already in the sales process in Germany and so on, and the product is available for the market.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll talk before the beginning of 2020, but that's certainly that's our approach at this point.
Okay. One last question about the product itself. Do you coming up then with a name, a brand name?
No, it'll be a white label product.
A white label product, so that's each, whatever wholesale company can put the name on it.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So it's not a recreational product that we're out there trying to create brand awareness with.
Okay.
What we're doing is we're delivering products that we know the doctors want to prescribe to their patients.
Last question, shareholder structure.
So today we have 10.2 million shares outstanding.
Okay.
It's a tight structure. I think approximately 4.5 million of that is float. So the balance of it, just under 6 million are held by insiders. And we're in the process of finalizing a $1.5 million private placement at 15 cents. So that means we're going to issue another 10 million shares. It's a straight common share deal, so there aren't warrants attached to it. So on a fully diluted basis, we're going to have 20.2 million shares outstanding, and we have approximately 1 million options. So we have 21 million shares outstanding.
And this money is enough to can start with the
Correct. Yeah, and we're going to do we plan to do a subsequent financing. I mean, what we don't want to do. We're very confident in our business model. We're confident that we can execute, and so what we don't want to do is raise more money than less and dilute ourselves at these kind of share levels. Again, this financing is 15 cents. Our stock's currently trading at roughly 30 cents. So our expectation is, as we do a more effective job communicating to the marketplace what we're doing, I think the market will recognize that, and theoretically our share price will go up. And so when we do our next financing, which will be more substantial than this one, we're doing it at a significantly higher price.
Okay. Alex, thank you for the first introduction to your company. Next time maybe I do an interview with your German guys. They are all so for my understanding, the most people work out of Germany.
Yes, we're based out of Erfurt.
Yep.
And our, again, mind and operating management is German. We originally were using a publicly traded vehicle that was on the TSX Venture. Now we're trading in Frankfurt. So in every respect, we're a German company.
Okay. Wow. Okay, thank you, Alex, for the first introduction. Ja, also diesmal ist eigentlich eine andere Cannabis-Story. Ganz einfach erklärt, es geht da um Distribution. Das heißt, Sie kaufen von einem lizenzierten Produzenten, bringen das nach Europa und vertreiben das über Apotheken und diverse Vertriebskanäle. Diese zertifizierten Produzenten sitzen in Kanada herüben. Die müssen EU-zertifiziert sein. Man liest es auch in letzter Zeit sehr oft bei diversen Produzenten, dass die für diese EU-Lizenzierung gehen. Damit können die Qualitätsstandards erreicht werden. So, und einer Job ist es quasi, das Teil zu kaufen und in Deutschland zu vertreiben. Die meisten Leute sitzen in Deutschland. Im Prinzip ist es eine deutsche Firma, die allerdings ein TSX-Vehikel hat, wo die Company dementsprechend darüber gelistet ist. Die Aktienstruktur ist super clean. Ich glaube 10,5 Millionen Aktien sind momentan draußen, 6 Millionen sind bei den Gründern und beim Management, 4,5 ist ungefähr der Float. Jetzt machen sie nur mehr eine Finanzierung von 1,5 Millionen, das ist nur mehr 10 Millionen Aktien, das heißt dann in Summe sind wir bei 20 Millionen drauf, aber sie wollen nicht mehr machen, weil das ja zu sehr bei diesem Aktienkurs das verwässert. Was spannend ist auf jeden Fall auch, wann wollen Sie das erste Mal Produkt verkaufen. Er sagt, im ersten Halbjahr 2020 wollen Sie das erste Produkt auf dem Markt haben und Sie wollen das nicht unter eigenem Brand machen, sondern das ist ein White-Labeling-Brand. Das heißt, jeder dieser Apotheken-Vertriebskanäle kann ihr eigenes Label draufsetzen und somit dann unter seinem eigenen Namen vertreiben, was natürlich ein Anreiz für das ist, dass die das überhaupt machen. Er hat allerdings auch klar gesagt, 2020 ist ja ein Ziel, allerdings kann er sich sehr wohl vorstellen, dass er sehr, sehr viel früher drüber spricht. Ja, also eine ganz interessante Sache. Ich werde jetzt einmal schauen, ob ich da auch selber nicht an dem Privat Placement jetzt selber noch teilnehme, denn das schaut wirklich sehr spannend aus und die Story an sich ist mir lieber aus diesen vielen Produzenten-Stories, denn ich fürchte auch, beim Produzenten wird es am Ende nur um einen Preis gehen und dort bin ich dann in einem Konkurrenzkampf, der unglaublich ist und den möchte ich, wenn es geht, natürlich vermeiden. Deswegen glaube ich, könnte das eine ganz spannende Story sein, die auch sehr, sehr schnell sehr, sehr schöne Ergebnisse bringt. Ja, das war's von Chinook in Vancouver, Mai 2019. Tschüss und Baba. Thank you.
Thank you.